Coming up on New Mexico State Sports Weekly, we'll check in with head softball coach Coach Rodolph as her team continues to dominate in conference play. NM State women's golf wrapped up another tournament last weekend. We'll talk with assistant coach Danny Bowen to get all the details. Back in February, a major change to college baseball occurred. Aggie Vision has your inside scoop on how the changes affected the game. We'll also be checking in with head men's tennis coach Carlos Vargas. His team clinched the WAC regular season last weekend. And we'll wrap it up with a look back at the women's basketball team's successful year through highlights that you won't want to miss. So stick around. You don't want to miss a minute of today's show. This is New Mexico State Sports Weekly. Welcome to another episode of New Mexico State Sports Weekly. I'm this week's host, Glenn Cerny. The NM State softball team has had an impressive start to conference play, now 9-0 after sweeping UMKC at home this past weekend for the Aggies' third straight conference series sweep. The Aggies won the first two games against the Roos fairly uncontested, but UMKC caused some trouble for the final game of the series, leading by 4 heading into the 6th. The home run by senior Kelsey Dodd rallied the Aggies to come back and defeat the Roos 10-9. Coach Rodolph joins us now, and let's get that last game out of the way. You were still kind of concerned about that, but they did come back. What allows your team to have that tenacity to not give up that easily?
Well, Kat talked to the offense because the offense is definitely hers and said, hey, we've done this multiple times and we've come further from behind before. Let's get it done one pitch at a time. Don't try to win it in one swing. And I believe they just chipped away, and Kelsey came up huge.
Let's talk about one of the real bright spots, and you and I talked before the season, and Dallas McBride, you knew she had the potential to be one heck of a pitcher, and she's coming through for you, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely. Dallas does it on both sides of the ball. She does it in the circle, and she's one of the top 5 hitters on the team as well. So when she plays, we can play defense in any position that we need and let her hit for herself. But she has outstanding movement. She's left-handed, and she's going to be a standout player over her 4-year career here.
9-0, and I know you better. It would be easy to kind of sit back and go put things on autopilot, but far from over Bakersfield this coming weekend, and that's always an adventure.
Well, Bakersfield won the series against Grand Canyon, and Grand Canyon is in second place, and they took 2 of 3 from Grand Canyon at Grand Canyon. So Bakersfield is playing really tough. We're going to have to go out there and really bring our A game to get them.
Well, what do you work on this time of the season? I mean, you've got a lot of games under your belt. You know this team pretty well, but I know every coach sees things in practice and in games, and they say, this has to get better. What are you looking at these next couple days before Bakersfield?
Well, I believe collectively as a pitching staff, we've got to make sure that we get ahead and we stay ahead. And our defense is doing a great job of playing behind us, so we've got to feed that defense. Offensively, we've got an awful lot of kids that are doing great things. We need to make sure that we can clutch hit when we need to and not strand quite as many runners as we have of late.
Most successful teams that I've covered, you'll find that they've got some upperclassmen leadership to kind of help herd those freshmen and sophomores along and keep them. Can you talk a little about the chemistry of this team?
Oh, it starts with Stacy Rodriguez, and she's just an unbelievable individual. But as a senior, she's having a breakout year, just amazing. I think she's hitting above 600 in WAC play. Kelsey Dodd has been really solid. Melena Padilla has struggled just a little bit at the plate, but her defense has been unbelievable in left. Lacey Rother has come in, really given us some good depth in right and a big bat in the middle of the lineup. Those seniors are really going to be missed at the end of this year.
Coach Rodolph, you've got that trip coming up, and also there's that little nagging WAC tournament, I know. So good luck to you and your squad as you progress and hopefully grab that NCAA bid.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
The Aggies will be looking to maintain their perfect conference record as they head to Bakersfield, California to take on the Roadrunners. Log on to nmstatesports.com to follow your Aggies in the series this weekend. Thanks to Coach for joining us. When New Mexico State Sports Weekly returns, assistant coach Danny Bowen will stop by the studios. Stay with us. This is NM State Sports Weekly. NM State women's golf team recently returned from the Maricopa, Arizona area after placing 7th in the Wyoming Cowgirl Classic behind the likes of Nevada, Washington State, Lamar, and BYU. The Aggies moved up 4 spots on the leaderboard on the final day of the tournament after receiving outstanding play from sophomore Camille Orito and junior Casey Delps, finishing the tournament 42 over par as a team. Now joined by assistant coach Danny Bowen. And first of all, had to get your blood running when you saw the team starting to move up that leaderboard on the last day.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. That was our team goal that day, was to have the best round of the day, and actually it was the best round of the tournament. We shot 4 over, so the girls really played well.
Camille Orito, again, played at a very high level. You must be pleased also with the improvement you're seeing from her. And is there some leadership qualities that also cut over to the other players?
Yeah, she's had a really great year. She was a defending champ going into the Wyoming Classic, so she struggled a little in the second round, but came back really strong with a 2-under par 70 in the final round. And the girls looked to her for guidance during practice rounds and during play here at home for her leadership.
Now, if you're an Aggie coach, you know that at some point you're going to have to be compared to both UTEP and UNM. And for all Aggie fans, it's kind of nice to see you, 34 places, 48 places, one and the other, that you're firmly in the rankings. And you've gone up in the rankings as well.
Yeah, and all year long we've been playing well, and our other rivals maybe having a little bit of a downtime, but at the same time we like to go out there and compete, and it's fun to win against them.
Let's talk a little bit about the WAC tournament. Can you talk a little bit about the mental preparation that goes into getting ready for a conference tournament?
Well, this year's a little bit different. We're the favorite heading in to WAC this year. Last year we were second behind Idaho, so we were kind of the comeback team in the final round. So this year will be a little bit different, defending and playing as well as we have all year. I think we should be fine.
Talk about the conference. You mentioned Idaho last year. They're no longer in the conference. So who's the competition? Who's lurking out there that you go, ooh, if this team gets hot, look out? And I know all of them, but let's be a little more specific.
Yeah, we can't overlook anyone. I think the team that comes to mind could be Seattle. They have a few really good players that can play. So, but like I said, we can't overlook anyone. We have to go out there and play our game and let it fall how it falls.
Who in that after Seattle? Who would you say tends to stack up?
Missouri KC has been playing well this spring, so they could sneak in there.
You know, when you talk about UMKC and Seattle, what's the advantage of being down here where you can virtually play year-round?
Oh, it helps a lot, and it's a big advantage to be playing our WAC tournament on a desert course, which of course that's all we play on here at home. So it's a big advantage.
And of course, you talk about that being in Phoenix, where the tournament's going to be held.
Correct. Yeah, and we've played Wigwam a few times, so the girls are comfortable there, and I think they're going to have a great time.
Good luck, Coach. As we've said, the Aggies will be heading to Phoenix, Arizona for the 2015 WAC tournament, which is now only a few days away. Coach, best of luck in the WAC tournament.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
When we come back, New Mexico State Sports Weekly will get you up to speed with how the new NCAA-regulated baseball has been affecting America's pastime with an Aggie Vision special feature. This is the New Mexico State Sports Weekly. College baseball underwent a major change this year as a newly designed flat seam baseball was introduced into the sport to help level the playing field for batters. The ball is intended to aid the offense with an additional distance of up to 20 feet on hits. With NM State baseball having experienced the change firsthand over the last few months, Aggie Vision caught up with the team to find out how the new ball has impacted the game.
The NCAA revealed a new baseball this year, and it's getting rave reviews from the Aggie pitching staff.
I actually didn't like thin seam balls before, but now that I've thrown with them, I'm liking it a little bit more than I used to. I may get a little more break on my curveball and slider, and I like how it'll have a little bit more sharpness, maybe get a few more swing and misses.
I have a sinker. I don't throw it that often, but I have noticed that it's easier to get run on that as well. But I mean, my 4 seam is running a lot more than it usually does, or it did with the bigger seam balls.
The NCAA lowered the seams on this year's baseball. The seams are only .031 inches high compared to last year's seams that were .048 inches high. Pitchers love the new addition because it resembles the ball that is used throughout the minor leagues.
I'm a slider guy, so I like it more for the slider, and then changeup's a lot easier to grip with that too because you kind of bury it in your hand. So the ball feels a little bit smaller without the seams, so you can get it a little bit deeper into your hand, and I know it's easier to manipulate a little bit.
The NCAA did this to increase offense, and it has not disappointed. Through April 6th, according to stats compiled on NCAA.com, the highest average number of home runs per game is 1.52. Belmont is the team that has that number. Last year at this time, the average number of home runs per game hit was only 1.24. Runs per game are also up. For example, in the SEC, runs per game are at an average of 6.01 this year. That is an increase of nearly half a run a game. Runs are also up in the WAC too. Even though it's a slight increase of 4.66 runs per game average in 2015 through April 6th compared to a 4.5 runs per game in 2014, it's an increase nonetheless.
When you evaluate the ball, what has happened is you've probably put about 10, maybe 15 feet of carry on it. That's what the scientists say. I think the biggest difference is when the last couple years, when balls went up in the gap, if you had an outfielder that could run, he could run it down. And when the ball changed, potentially that ball was getting to the gap. There were a couple of balls over the weekend. If they're hit a year ago, they're caught. You know, just out of the outfielder's reach. So I think you see a difference there. I know we play in an offensive park, but for us with the ball, I think really what's going to impact is recruiting, you know, and creating some balance. In this ballpark is huge. We got to have speed in the outfield. We got to have speed at the top of the order. We need to have power in the middle of the lineup. We feel great about what's happened with the recruiting standpoint in terms of being able to bring that in. I think from the fan perspective of maybe putting more people in the stands, I think anything you can do to increase offense will make our game more marketable to the general public. And I think that at the end of the day is what it's really about. We want to put people in the stands.
For Aggie Vision, I'm Vinny Conway.
When New Mexico State Sports Weekly returns, we'll sit down with head men's tennis coach Carlos Vargas. His team just clinched the WAC regular season. Coach Vargas will be with us right after the break. Welcome back to New Mexico State Sports Weekly. NM State's men's tennis team has become the 2015 Western Athletic Conference regular season champions as they finish their conference season with a perfect 5-0 record. Now here with me is the head coach, Carlos Vargas. And Coach, first of all, been a while since we chatted, but feeling undefeated. You got to be feeling good about that one.
Yes, we're feeling pretty good right now. It wasn't an easy season by all means, but I'm happy with the way we ended. We kind of came together about halfway through, and now we finished strong.
Well, I know earlier in the season you had some angst. You really weren't comfortable. What's happened over the course of the season to put the team in such a powerful position?
Well, I think we were always good. The competition was strong, and we did not get the right combination going either for things outside of our control, being sick or injury, a lot of injuries and all that. And I think finally we put those behind and we were able to put the best combination out there.
Educate me a little bit here. You know, with baseball, the coaches know who their 1, 2, and 3 pitchers are, and sometimes you won't start your one pitcher. You'll save them to face their 2 or 3. Is tennis that volatile that you'll look at an opponent, or do you pretty much stick with 1, 2, 3?
You know, the only difference with that is, first, you don't have as many players as baseball team would have, and you don't have as much of a, as deep of a bench maybe, and you know to some certainty what your opponent is going to be like, but it's within a player or two. I don't think it works the same way. You work on putting your best team out there every day and without worrying so much about matching up per se. So
I think one of the things that you've been very fortunate with right now is consistency from a lot of players. Can you mention a couple of players and that level of consistency that you've seen?
Yeah, as far as consistency goes, one that has been a very good producer for us this 1 year is Patrick Pfister at number 5 position for the most part. He plays as high as maybe 3, 4, but mostly at 5. And he is a senior, and he has won a lot of matches for us this year. Another one would be Jermaine Desgardins. He struggled a little bit at the beginning with some injuries, and we're still dealing with some of that. And we left him off the lineup this past weekend. But he has won a lot of matches for us at number 6.
Take a quick preview. You go into the WAC tournament here. You've had a chance to see your opponents. Who do you look at and go, ooh, this is a team that I'm not sure we're going to handle quite as easily as we might have during the regular season?
Well, a team that has come a long way seems to be UT Pan American. They're a pretty talented, feisty team. They were certainly very tough at home. They are good players, and they're a little fiery, a little feisty would be the best way to describe them. And so it's one that we got our eyes on. And obviously the host this year, UMKC, they're as well a very good team. We played them very close during the season, and at home I'm sure they're going to be tough to beat.
Coach, thanks for taking the time to chat with us on New Mexico State Sports Weekly, and good luck in the tournament. When we come back on New Mexico State Sports Weekly, we'll be taking a look back at the women's basketball team's outstanding season. The NM State women's basketball team had one of the most successful seasons in the program's history this year. The Aggies racked up 22 wins, clinched the regular season conference title, finished the WAC tournament with a major first-place victory, and appeared in the NCAA tournament for the first time in 27 years. Let's take a look back at all the highlights from the season.
Foul call, stolen away by Tyre Williams in the open court. Left-hand layup is good. field. Yes, sir. The Aggies trail by 1. Here's Davis with 7 seconds. The kick. Tamara Williams into the lane. The finger roll.
We're all excited and looking forward to next season. Tickets for Aggie baseball and softball are on sale right now. To be a part of the excitement, call the Aggie ticket office at 575-646-1420. You can also get tickets online at nmstatesports.com or ticketmaster.com. That'll do it for this week's installment of New Mexico State Sports Weekly. I'm Glenn Cerny saying thank you for watching and go Aggies!